Okay, guys, real quick, this wasn't planned, and this is the third recording in this because I was going to just record a little snippet to include in my next video to put in, a little bit about learning uh, 32 languages, and as part of my security research, that I've been involved in it for the past 15 years. But it expanded, it grew, and I was doing it live, and the conversation, even after I ended the first part, the conversation continued, and something came up that was pretty important, that I wanted to touch on. And after I touched on it, I figured I should, you know what? Before all of this, there's been plenty of times people have asked me, "How do you go about learning 32 languages?" You know, I'd like to just learn one or two. So, can you help me? Can you show me, some tricks and stuff and how you do that? And this is going to be part of that. So let's skip to where this all started. As you can see right here, um, we got a conversation going on. It doesn't matter what it's about. This is for the language stuff. But when for someone like myself, that's studying 32 different languages, you're gonna find out there's a lot of dialects in every language, in Spanish, in Italian, in oh my God, Arabic. uh, let's not get into the dialects of Arabic, but it's a wonder that they can communicate with each other at all. But anyway, you get what I mean. Um, as myself, someone that spends a lot of time on the dark web, there's you're going to see, you're going to see, a lot of different languages. You're going to see Polish, you're going to see Pakistan, India. We're not going to get into the different, you know, this can get complicated. I know, not a lot of people study language or are linguistics or anything, but um, this can get pretty complicated, with Pakistan and India, and Hindi and the different versions and all that stuff. But anyway, you get the point. Um, there's no right, there's no wrong way. Even for the people that use Google Translate, um, I don't know. Do I have it in all my mini? No, I don't have it open. Um, but yeah, I do have Google Translate open because I want, sometimes I like to see if people are using Google Translate. Google's got its own way of translating languages, and kind of like AI art, you know, like Dali and all the AIs that make art and stuff. Uh, they've made AIs that can spot that. So it's the same with language. You can identify if someone's using Google Translate or not because it's anywhere from 50% accurate to 85% accurate, depending on the language that if you're using Spanish or if you're using Italian or German or Russian, it varies in its accuracy. And someone that looks at it, like myself, I had to use it a lot, because I knew there's a lot of people on these forum boards on the dark web and stuff like that, and other clear web forum boards that are just in different language. Not every board on the internet, on the plain internet, is English. Um, but there are people that want to get on there and still want to talk in their English, and they just purely use Google Translate to talk. And the native people know it. They can spot it. Right off the bat. And I've used it. Seen what Google Translate does. In Russian and Chinese and Hindi and Arabic, and I can spot it in those languages because I run into those languages a lot on you know the dark web and stuff like that. But it's the same. Oh, someone's talking. But you can see here, um, what he says. Where was it? Right here. Oh yeah, I was talking with Nico, and he jumped in and answered it and everything, and he put an addition on there. Then I came back and I judged what you said is right. There's other ways of saying the same thing depending on the dialect. And right here, I mentioned you know differently what he said. I said the same thing that he said, but different. But if you used to take this and put, if you used to take both of these and put both of these in Google Translate, you're going to get the same translation in English. But in Spanish, you can see that this is clearly different, two different sentences, but still means, translated means the same thing, especially if you're going to put it into Google Translate. Now, a native, native speakers in each one, would know, the difference, and everything. But again, we're getting in that area, native people versus non-native people that speak a language. Just look on YouTube. There's plenty of you know people trying to amaze other people, on the internet that wow, I can go over to China and speak fluent Chinese and speak fluent Croatian, and that it's not fluent. Cannot, I won't say no names, but there's an extremely popular person on YouTube that does this type of videos, claiming that he's fluent, and he's not really fluent in my opinion. If you pay it, if you get a notepad and write down the sentences that he's saying in all of his videos. I know, yes, that'll take time, but just do it. If you're curious, if you're really curious, you'll find out he's saying the same sentences pretty much over and over and over, and just in different languages. So anyone can do that. Like if I wanted to talk, security, let's say, um, I can write down a list of sentences that I know that I'm going to have to say. When as soon as I say something in a different language, someone's going to be astonished. Oh my God, you speak, whatever Hindi or and you come back, yeah, yeah, I'm learning on the internet, and so you translate that and you memorize it. Then they like, how long you been learning? And you answer that, oh, 6 months, whatever, a year, whatever. Oh, where'd you learn it? Like that, oh, I learned it from the internet, and books and studying, watching, video. I'm self-taught. You get an answer for that, and basically you set out a whole conversation prehand to answer whatever would come up just in that, because you're not going to sit there for a long, you know, you're in a store or grocery market or whatever, you're out in the street just to impress people, which is what he does in his videos. So, the person you're talking to, they're working behind the counter, they got a job to do, whatever. So they can't sit there and shoot the bullshit, like if you guys are friends, and, talk about sports and talk about porn and talk about, you know, being in prison and talk about, you're not going to have to be fluent, let's say. You know that the subject's going to be on, oh my God, where'd you learn how to speak so and so, and how long you been doing it, and what do you do, and, what brings you here, to China or what, India or whatever, are you a tourist, and the usual stuff that would take up, probably about a 5-10 minute conversation, and eventually they're going to tell you, well, I gotta get back to work, or whatever, like that. And you're like, okay, like that, and that's all you need to know. In every language you want to make a video on, doesn't mean you're fluent. Doesn't mean you can go to someone's house and literally, you know, talk about whatever pops up. Let's talk about whatever's on TV. Let's talk about a movie. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Whatever. And that's what gets me about those YouTube channels, that do that. But anyway, as far as language goes, you can see my point on this. But what's the point? The whole point, if you want to communicate, if you want to communicate, it doesn't matter what, you know, if you're using Google Translate or not. What's the big fucking deal? You know, if you're just, curious, you're not causing no harm or anything, like that. You're literally on another board. And you don't speak the language and everything, and you're like, I want to get into this and everything. And if you use Google Translate to, to communicate with the people, maybe they're nice enough to help you out. You know, oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, you're using Google Translate to. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, you can do that. We'll help you out. If you want to learn, what Spanish, whatever it is, yeah, we'll help. We'll correct you and help you out and this and that. If you want to get on a video chat, and practice, and everything, and that happens. You find nice forum boards or nice Discord servers and stuff where people are willing to do that. That's rare. Most of the time, you're going to find trolls that are going to hound you and belate whatever that word is. Put you down. Not really, but that's going to happen. It's just the internet. But if you stumble onto the right people, the right channel and stuff and everything, then it ends up being a good thing. But the whole point is to communicate. We're all in the world. We're all in this earth together. And we got to get along. And not everybody wants to do that. You know, for their own reasons, their own goals. Whatever that could be good or bad. Who knows? But anyway, let's move on. Okay, I figured I'd add on to this. Obviously, our conversation continued between me and Nico here. Nico's from Spain, by the way. So for those of you that are Spanish and might be following this, um, you might, yeah, she's, she hasn't spoken in a long time. So, you know, it is a little rusty to her because, of reasons I won't get into, talk about it. That's personal. But um, as you can see, the conversation continued, and y'all y'all know that, I'm into porn. Those are my true followers here. I make 3D porn, both animated and uh, actual 3D video porn. My animated version is AVN, which is a visual adult visual novel. But and animated also porn. But again, eh, anyway, she said, you gotta watch, how you interpret, you know, that one word, and I'll get down to it down here because it could mean to fuck instead of dog. And yeah, and like I told you, I'm studying, 32 languages. So, I'm not perfect, but I'm conversational level, and majority of them. Put it this way: I'm not perfect in all 32 languages, but if I was to, let's just say, you know, I was in a plane and we crashed somewhere, you know, wherever I was going, if I was, going from here to overseas, anywhere overseas, it doesn't matter where, South Africa, uh, any of the Arab nations, Iraq, Iran, Syria, China, Russia, it wouldn't matter. If we were to crash and I was to survive, granted, intact and all that, I could walk around, find a road, hitchhike, and I could get by. I would sound, like, someone from South America, coming to the States, learning English. As Americans, we know how, it's broken up, but we understand them, you know, we understand them. And that's the whole point. That's, communication. Again, communicate. As long as, you guys can understand each other, you got a communication going. Oh, and she's back. She answered. But anyway, you can tell right here. I did some more further research because she brought up a point. When she said, to fuck, and I told her, I should have interpreted that would fit me more. That's the whole point behind that. For those that don't know me from YouTube, haven't watched all my videos, but yeah, that that meaning would fit me much more appropriate. So I looked into it, and I found out, it's all in the spelling. Moving the E and the G and the I around, it gets you all these different, spellings here in context, whatever you. Now, I'm the first time reading this. Let me see. Is the second verb group that ends in ER. They tend to do that. Come here, come here. Yeah, okay. Spanish has way too many verbal tones. If you go into the rabbit hole, you would get a headache. That's pretty much with any, I could bring up Arabic. I mean, if you really want a rabbit hole, I mean, get into trying to learn Arabic. But yeah, and maybe, listen, you guys, um, I don't know. Should I make a whole video on this? I don't know. You guys let me know. If you want to get into, how I learn, so many languages, and everything, and the tools, and how, like researching this word. Google Translate's not going to help you. It's going to translate what she said way up here somewhere. I forgot where it was, but it's going to translate that sentence to you in English one way and one way only. You're not going to get any other variations any other words like this down here, or anything like that. So if you're going to study languages, it's going to, first of all, it's going to take you time to study them. If you want to study, a lot of it, because they're different language families. There's, you know, different ways. There's just different ways of doing it, and it's intent. Basically got to become a linguistic person. And yes, I did that. Because I'm a hacker. So anything I get into, I want to do it to the best that I can. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I can see already that I'm gonna have to study linguistics to understand these languages, all these different dialects, and then you got to get into the history, because you're like, okay, how did these dialects even, become a thing? Well, immigrants from this country coming into this country, mingling, and and everything, and then they make up, one's of this dialect, one's of that dialect, but then they intermingle and everything, and they create a whole other third language, and that happened in I don't know, Star Wars or Star Trek, one of the two, or I don't know if it was this. It might have been yeah, it was an actual science experiment of artificial intelligence. They put two artificial intelligent robots together and everything, and I don't know if it was virtually or in real, but whatever the point is, they put them together, and after a little bit of time went on, things were getting really bad, because these two, on their own, using their own artificial intelligence, they created a third language between them. They created their own language just between the two of them. You know, call it a different dialect, shorthand, a cryptographic language only that they both know, and no one else knows, whatever. But they did it. And so they had to be unplugged. They had to be taken off, and everything. Because we're like, we have no fucking idea where this is going. They're into their own thing here. But, and that just happens when you take two diverse ethnic groups and whatever, different languages and stuff, and put them together. Um, Even if they speak the same language, but just a different dialect, you're going to end up with a third language between them. The close, the ones that got to live together, because you're sitting down talk. You've known each other for 2 years now or 3 years now, or whatever, and you're sitting down bullshitting at the barbecue or at the bar. And over time you just create your own shorthand, your own slang words, and all this other stuff, and just it becomes a whole other thing. And you know, and that's how you profile people. Also, by the way, as a security researcher, I can say I know certain words, certain dial, the way certain things are phrased in Russian and Chinese and stuff, that if I'm talking to you, I might have a general area that I know you're from, if it's Russian or China, whatever. But the more, we chat and everything, I start seeing particular words. It could be because of this, Now I've learned this word. Now, through talking with Nico here, I've learned this. And now I can, narrow things down a little bit, but through certain words and chatting and stuff, and you can start to narrow it. Okay, like now you're in, and now I know you're in this area, because we're getting down to more nitty gritty stuff here, where I can zero in basically, where I know, I could be wrong, I could be right, I'm just a researcher, but this is the area that I know this particular, these words and this kind of phrasing and stuff is spoken, and and not really, outside of this area, because it's something else if you go outside this area. And that's the same thing with this here. What we're talking about here on this one little word. It was in a sentence, but it's just one little word, right there, that is is that you can use to profile a person. You look at this one and how they're using it, and compared, if you know all of these down here and everything, and I won't dig into any further. If you guys are interested in profiling and all that stuff, online, if you're interested, if you're like, if you do research like me on the dark web and all you have is text, because people only chat on forum boards, and it's all only in text, in the whatever Arabic, whatever, but yeah, if you want to go down that road, you're gonna have to learn that on your own. I'm not gonna teach you because that's a big rabbit hole and takes a lot of time. It took me a lot of time to get to where I'm at currently in the languages, and learning languages and stuff like that. And I'm just not gonna teach anyone, especially for free in that area. So I can talk about it. Do you want me to make a video on it? I can show you stuff. I can get you in the right direction. I can head you to the rabbit holes. Um, But from then on, if you're that interested, it's you that needs to decide if you want to go down them or not. Because another thing, I can get into IPA. You know, that's a whole other language, but it's universal between every spoken language on the globe as far as writing it down and it sounding the same. It's basically putting sounds to letters. And just search up, IPA in Google, put IPA in language, and it'll tell you what the abbreviation of IPA is. You guys can find that on your own. I got confidence in you. And yeah, it'll take you down that rabbit hole. That's one of the rabbit holes is the IPA language, because um, dictionaries, Wikipedia, and stuff like that, a lot of them will put the IPA behind the word that you're searching on it. So if you don't know how to pronounce it, you can copy that and put it into an IPA reader and translate it into your language, and just hit the translate button. It'll say the word, and you'll be able to hear it. If you've got no one that knows that language, which happens to me a lot, and everything, you'll be able to hear how it sounds and how to pronounce it. And like I said, that's just one rabbit hole to go down to help you pronounce words. You know, like if you're learning Russian and you don't really know any Russian people, so you're like, okay, I don't, I see this word, but it's written. It's the English translation of it, but am I going? I'm noticing I'm going to sound right if I try to use English to pronounce, a Russian word that's in English. Right? So how can I get the actual, translation of this so I can hear, you know, how it's actually spoken and everything. And so you would need to know IPA if you want to get into learning languages and linguistics and stuff. Any kind of serious way. But with that, guys, I think you've seen enough. This is enough to get you started. I just had to add this because it's continued on, and I looked into it further, and I come up with these meetings in a very quick, time. You can see, this up here was at 120 like that, and it's only 215 now. So that's how quick I can pick things up. And what 120, 215, so 40, 50 minutes. You know, it took me to dig in further and find the same different meanings and verbs and everything of the same word and how it's used and all that stuff. But yeah, this is the wonderful world of language, and even diving deeper into security research. People might ask, learning language, because people get astonished. Why in the hell would you learn 32 languages? Are you just bored? And then I tell them, no, I'm a security researcher, and I come across a lot of languages. Some more than others. Like I said, Russian, Hindi, uh, Chinese. And both Cantonese and Mandarin also. And same with Vietnamese. Different dialects and stuff. And same with Indian. Like I said, Indian and Pakistan. Everything. Both of them have hackers. Everyone has hackers. Syria. I mean, oh my God, that's a whole other thing. I might have a video coming out on that. But Syria, Lebanon, and Iran's got a whole thing going on. Where Syria is just has their whole country under internet surveillance. I mean, in a bad way. They're literally hacking all their people, their phones and computers and everything, and they're installing malware and stuff on their computers just to know where they are, what they're doing. Are they part of any political movement or anything against the regime or anything? Because if you are, we're going to get you. And the other, you know, all you people think the USA is bad. Oh my God, you don't even. I hate to say it, guys, but You know, I'm not getting bad here, but for the woke people, and the trans people, and from what I see of their videos that they post, oh, woe is me and this and that, and calling me names, blah, 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 you guys, as far as the world goes, you've got no clue. If I want to say it bluntly, you got no clue at all how fucked up this world is. You, you are in your own little bubble in the United States. You've got no fucking clue what people's lives are like in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon. I mean, come on, get with it. Get over yourself, all right? There's other shit in the world going on besides, your own little world, your own little sphere. I've said this before. You're just a pebble of sand on a huge beach. You don't mean nothing in the overall grand scheme of things. But with that, I think I'll cut this off. I might just go ahead and put this up as a video for those people that are in. This is just another one of those videos that pop up in between my lessons. So we'll see you guys in the chat room. Other than that, you YouTube people that watch the majority of my videos, I really can't see you or chat with you. So hit that subscribe button and the like button, and the note and the bell. You want to get notified. Like you said, as you can see, you never know when I'm going to post. So you know, there's no schedule to this. So if you want to know when I'm posting something crazy or whatever, be sure to hit that bell, and we'll see you guys later.